Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Gustavo Stares, and I am with the Entrepreneur and Small Business Support Department at Main Street America, and we want to welcome you to this webinar, part of the Small Business Digital Coaching on Main Street Program, Kentucky, a webinar series. And I want to introduce Lindsay Newland and Janet Hearn, our presenters for today.
Thank you so much, Gustavo. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Kentucky, as well as those of you that are not located in Kentucky. If you would take a moment, we would love for you to put in the comment box where you're from, what your business is. If you'd like to tell us, that would be amazing. So we want to welcome all of you and let you know that our hearts are with you, Kentucky. We know you got hit hard with the storms and then you had flooding prior to that. So we are thinking of you and we are with you. And if there's anything we can do to support you, let us know. Hopefully today's webinar will help support some of your communication efforts. And we're very appreciative for all of you. So thank you for taking the time out during this challenging time. And those of you that got hit elsewhere in the country, we're with you. Storming here right now. So we just got to stick together. So thank you again. And we'll go ahead and get ready to do Canva Made Simple. Canva is a great tool, and just a reminder that if you have a nonprofit status or you are a teacher, you can get the pro version for free. You can also get team accounts as a nonprofit. So there's an opportunity to talk with your Main Street to see if there's something you can do to kind of coordinate to get that pro version, but even the free version of Canva is amazing. My name is Janet Hearn. I have over 30 years experience in higher education, as well as building out innovative arms for higher education and supporting business development and business innovation. And I'm excited to be with you here today. Our Kentucky project with our 20 small businesses has been going super great, and I love our businesses we're working with. And we want to extend all that work and knowledge to everyone who's here today. So thank you again for coming. And now I'll turn it over to Lindsay, who is our Canva guru, and she will be leading you through most of this, and I will handle the Q&A. Q&A is for specific questions that you'd like us to cover during the webinar. Chat is if you just want to call out something that you didn't know. It's amazing. That's great. If you want to just say hi. But Q&A will be for specific questions. Lindsay, it's all yours.
All right. Good morning. Thank you, Janet and Gustavo, for having us on this webinar today. My name is Lindsay Newland. I'm a website designer, business coach, entrepreneur, graphic designer, all the visual things. I am based in Iowa. My business is called Not So Small Business. And a little bit about my background. I spent 23 years in the restaurant industry, and then I shifted and went back to school and went into a design field. And I really enjoy working with my local Main Street program with the Business Builder Academy. And I really enjoy working with small business owners and coaching in all capacities. I work and coach a lot through the website design process and things like that. Janet and I met in 2023 through the Grow with Google program. So really have enjoyed working with her for the last couple of years. So thank you all for being here. And I want to just touch on that our hearts are with you, Kentucky, about the storms and everything. I want to double up on Janet's message there. So, okay, what fun are we having today? So we're talking about Canva. We're going to be we're together today for 90 minutes. And so we have plenty of time. At least I think that we have plenty of time. I tend to talk a little bit fast, but I will make sure that I go slow enough for all of us to catch on to these dashboard tools and things. So when you walk away from today's workshop, we're going to be taking a tour through that Canva dashboard, which we'll be going through in just a minute. Some tools inside the artboard. So what you're looking at right now is actually, I'm screen sharing an artboard, and we'll be able to go through all of the tools and click on things and explore and uncover some of the things that are going to be really helpful to you. And we're going to customize a template for your brand. So if you have your desktop open, you can go ahead and load up your Canva on another tab, and we'll go ahead and walk through some of the things that you're able to do. Even if you have it on your phone, you should be able to follow along with what we're doing today. And then from a designer standpoint, we're going to talk about some main elements of a good graphic and explore some time-saving features for you, because really, as small business owners, that's really where it's at, is using the tools that are available to you to save time, we all know that time is money. So being able to speed up some of those things will be helpful. And then just learning at the end, Janet's going to be talking about some really cool features that Canva has just rolled out, some AI features. So if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat there. Janet will, call out and let me know when there's something that needs to be answered. So we are Main Streeters, so we love to take a tour. I'm in Iowa, and we just went through 6 of our properties in our district just last week with the Main Street Iowa Design Assistants. And that was a lot of fun, exhausting, but a lot of fun to go through those properties and just try to dream up what could happen with those properties. And I know if you're a Main Streeter, you really enjoy doing that as well. So I'm going to go right back out here to our main dashboard. So I'm going to leave this artboard. We're going to return to this later. But I wanted to at least introduce you. So this is your basic dashboard when you first log into Canva. And there are some really important features here that I want you to be aware of, and some really cool things as well. Canva has done a wonderful job from a designer standpoint. They've done a wonderful job of making this really user-friendly. And they put the things that you would normally be looking for, they would put them in various different places. So it doesn't matter where you're at, you can access the things that are most important to you. So this is what my dashboard looks like. You can see, I'm not embarrassed by anything that's on here. I've already gone through it, but I'm doing a brand course right now. Our previous webinar that we did is also in here. Some graphics that I made for the Kentucky folks. There's a newsletter for my local regional planning commission that I've done. So this is it's anything, and it's chronological. So anything that you've recently clicked on is going to be right here at the very top. And so we're just going to go top to bottom. So this search feature it allows you to, so when I click inside here, it automatically kind of offers me, since I was already working on a newsletter and a presentation mode, it already offers me those kinds of file types. But if you are looking for an Instagram post, or if you're looking for something seasonal, Mother's Day is coming up, if you're wanting to do, or I guess Mother's Day just passed, or if you're wanting to do something maybe 4th of July themed, you could type in 4th of July and find different things, different templates that will speed up the process for you. My husband kind of calls this the blinking cursor syndrome. He always talks about when you have a blank screen and that cursor is kind of blinking at you and telling you that you don't have any ideas. A lot of people, the hardest part for them, especially in the creative space, is trying to get something on the page. And that is wonderful, or that's something wonderful that Canva does for you. It offers you at least something for you to click on, move around. Maybe you hadn't thought about putting a photo in that place before, but it at least gives you that idea. So when you do a search, you can designate whether you want to search your designs or templates that are already in Canva. And then Canva AI, I'm not going to click on that just because Janet, might go through that later, but there's lots of different visual styles, and we'll get into how to customize things for your particular digital style. And so if I were searching for a newsletter, and it will offer me all of these templates, but then if I also click on your designs, it will pull up the most recent newsletter that I just did. So it's offering you the opportunity to search your own files or templates. Over here on the left, there's some quick tabs here. You have your home, which brings you back here to this screen. You have your projects. So the project folders, if you have the free version of Canva, it will offer you, I think, 1 or 2 folders. I'm able to do this because I have Canva Pro. And there are some things in today's presentation that are unlocked once you access Canva Pro. I definitely think it's worth it. If you're a nonprofit organization, you can get Canva Pro for free. If you're a teacher, even if you can get Canva Pro for free. So there's just a little application process that you can go through to get that for free. So I love having folders because I work on a lot of different projects with a lot of different clients, and having folders keeps me organized. So that way I can very quickly find what I'm looking for. And then over here under templates, it's the exact replication of the search feature on the homepage. All of my brands here, my brand kits, when you have the Canva Pro, you're not able to add, you're only able to add one brand, but because I work with a lot of different, I have Canva Pro. So I'm able to, and I'll show you this a little bit later, I'm able to go and toggle between these brands. So in any given design, I can be switching between these brands, the colors, the fonts, the logos, and everything. And it will allow me to very quickly move between those things. Me as a designer, of course, I'm switching. Or if you're a project too. So in the Main Street, we have a different brand for our Ladies Night Out event. And we have a different logo and set of colors for our overarching brand. And so I'm able to switch between those, even though I'm working on the Main Street brand. If I want to switch to a different event, then I'm able to do that. Okay.
Can I make a comment about that, Lindsay?
You can.
Brand, this is one of my favorite features of the Pro account. If you work with a team on designing, so maybe you have a social media person somewhere else. I know a couple of our businesses have social media people separate. If they're separated in different places, or you work with any kind of team, or you maybe hire out some graphics potentially, having that brand set up, make sure all your stuff is consistent, the right colors are being used, the right fonts are being used. You can throw photos in there, graphics, things that you want to stay consistent, and that speeds up work so much. When we work on projects together, Lindsay and I, we can share brand kits so that we make sure we're matching our colors and everything. So that is a great Pro feature. If you're a Main Street director and you have the Pro account through a nonprofit, you can set up the Main Street brand. And like Lindsay was saying, if you have different events, you can set those brands up so that your businesses can access that brand and stay in brand with the rest of the community. So it's really handy.
Definitely. That's a really good point. All right. So then these icons that are across the bottom here, these are probably your most frequently used projects that you can start. So Instagram post square. One pro tip when you're creating something for social, there's a different size. If you'll notice, there's a different size graphic for a Facebook post and an Instagram post. You typically can't post the Facebook size to Instagram because it wants things to be square or a certain ratio, but you can post an Instagram post to Facebook. So I always just go into the square graphic and just do it that way. So that way I can post to both without having to create two separate files. So that's kind of my pro tip, I suppose. You have different flyers, different print items. I would highly recommend just going in here sometime, just dedicate 10 minutes. Just click on every single one of these and see what it offers you, which is not what we're going to do today, just for sake of time, but you're not going to mess anything up. So go and click on these buttons, see what they do. I love the custom size feature. And you'll notice on the left here that the icons that are on the homepage are also repeated right here. They make things so easy for you. So if you have a design, say, like if you're putting in a thumbnail for Wix, it has to be a very specific pixels, the width and height. It's like 1200 by 630 or something like that. And so, but they don't have that in any of the Canva templates. So I use the custom size feature often. If you need a favicon or something for a website, something that's really small, that's like 64 by 64, They also don't have that template in Canva. So this allows you the opportunity to scale your graphics or to get something specific to the size that you're looking for. And then your upload feature also. The upload allows you to upload something that's already been designed somewhere else. This really helps when you need to edit a PDF and maybe something that was created. This happened just yesterday, actually. We have a flyer for Main Street that is the cost of an empty building, and we needed to edit that, but it was made back in 2012. So there's no way that we have the original digital file for that. So what we ended up doing was we just uploaded it up to Canva and then just recreated it from there. So it's just a really useful and time-saving option for you there as well. And then if you click more, again, these are repeated over here, and you've got, all kinds of different templates, resume, YouTube banner, comic strip. Everything that you can think of, it has been created in here for you. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back into the artboard here. And so I've clicked back into our original presentation. It takes me to my first slide, and I'm going to click all the way over here to let's take a tour. So we just got done taking a tour of the dashboard. I highly recommend just going in there, clicking around, seeing what options there are and what is available to you. And nothing is ever published online. Nobody can see what's happening inside your Canva until you actually go and post it online. So you can go and make mistakes. You can test things out. You can add things, take them away, use the undo button. I highly recommend just trying and seeing how intuitive this program actually is. So we are inside. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you can't, even with your teammates, right? If you have teammates, even if you don't share it with them, they can't see what you're doing. You have to actually share it with your teammates. So you have the ability to do all kinds of stuff nobody sees but you.
Yes, absolutely. Also, I wanted to call out, we for the brand that I use for this, it actually happens to be Beattyville Main Street, which is in Kentucky. So if you recognize your colors and your fonts and things, that's where I grabbed this from. So it goes right, that blue goes right in line with the Kentucky Main Street logo. So that's what I ended up using. All right, so we are inside our artboard, and I want to cover just a few of the features that are along the side here. So you have if you click on design, this again is where you would find different templates, and it will also offer up the templates that for the specific kind of file that you're in. So right now I'm doing this in presentation size, and so it's going to offer me templates and designs for the presentation size. Now, if you're in a Instagram graphic template, then that's what it will offer you, is Instagram templates. So it's intuitive that way. It's like, oh, you're working on a presentation, so we're not going to offer you something that's square when this is very clearly a rectangle. So it's offering you that. And there's all kinds of different ways that you can do this. So if you're trying to design a social media graphic for, let's say, Christmas, and you're in a social media size graphic, then you can just go right up in here and do a search for whatever you're looking for. So yesterday I was trying to see what it would offer me for Christmas, for product, for Mother's Day, that kind of thing. It really wasn't offering me a whole lot because I'm in presentation mode. But if I were over in a different kind of template, then it would offer me different options. So you can also, green, pink, it will offer you different kinds of things. It'll give you styles. So depending on what style you want, different font sets and things, which you would want to, the whole point of having Canva is to customize and make it look like your brand, which we will cover in just a little bit. And so you want to make sure that you're staying within your own typography and your colors and your shapes and things. All right, so then under elements, this is really kind of where the magic is. I think, in my opinion, it's so it offers you recently used, it offers you all kinds of shapes. So if I click on here, it offers you all kinds of different things. We'll talk about layering a little bit later, but a lot of times your graphic will look flat if you don't have a lot of layering or if you don't have texture behind it. So if you're looking at your what you're trying to create and you're like, oh, it's, I mean, even this that's on the screen is kind of flat. So I would probably add shadows, and I would add some layering of some shapes and just add some visual interest in there to make it more visually interesting. There's AI image generator, which sometimes is not very reliable. One time I was trying to get an image and somebody came out with 3 hands. So, I mean, you might not get exactly what you're looking for, but you can probably get pretty close, at least something usable. If you're wanting something custom there, you can add in tables, different photos, even video. If you're wanting like background video, sometimes that's useful to you. Audio, charts, stickers, frames. We'll talk about frames. Frames is really exciting. I always have people, how can I get that circular image? I'll walk you through that in a little bit. Okay, so that's where you're going to find, I mean, and you can even search. It's, if you were wanting school-age children, it will come up with both graphics, and depending on what your style is, and photos. It's, the repository is huge, and all of these are free to use. When if it doesn't say the Canva Pro, sometimes it'll lock certain images from the Canva Pro. Anything that has this little crown on it is a premium photo. So, all right, so then text. So remember earlier I mentioned that we are able to go in and toggle between different brands, and I'm going to show you how that works. So this is the Beattyville Main Street, the brand that I already have in here. And so if I click on title, it just gives me a text box over here. If I want to change that, I would go up in here, which we'll cover in a little bit. But if I wanted to, oh, I didn't want to be in Beattyville Main Street, I wanted to be over here in necessities. So it automatically switches that what fonts are available to me if I just go between the brands that I'm looking at. Okay. I'll go back to Beattyville just so that way we're consistent here. Okay. And I've already gone back into my brand kits and I've already installed these. You know, this is my title, subtitle, heading, and any body text it'll come out, 34 or whatever, just because I'm in presentation mode, but I can always change the size of those right up in here. So also, if you don't know what your brand fonts are and you haven't decided on that yet, there are also a lot of options here. So you can do recently used, there's font combinations that Canva has. What I just recommend as far as fonts go and typography is just choose, 2 or 3. Don't go over 3, definitely. And just use the same ones on all of your graphics. It'll give you a sense of identity and consistency across your brand, and it will help people recognize you when you post certain things. So there's lots of different options. If you're completely confused and you have no idea what your fonts should be, just try. Click on some things, see what they've done. These are all designed by experts. So just click around, delete things, undo, you've got it. And then the brand again. So all of my logos that I have stored for Beattyville or for Necessities, a Mercantile, or anything like that, all of my color scheme is already in there. And there's any photos so I have ready access directly right here under the brand. And then pro tip, hold down the shift button when you want to select more than one element. So I can, just as practical application here, I can either just click and drag and grab all of these, and then this dotted line here will show that I've selected all of them, or I can individually click these if I'm holding down the shift button, and this will come in handy later. Janet, do we have a question there?
Yeah, I'm going ahead and I could talk about it real quick. So there's a question about legal issues with the pictures and the graphics. If you're using them on a website, straight across, just a photo on a website, or publicly out there in brochures and things like that. Do you want to speak to that, or do you want me to take that one?
Anything that you find in Canva is open source. So there's no copyright or legal issues because you've gotten it from a repository that they've made publicly available.
The only thing I'd add though is if you want to make a logo and you're gonna try to trademark that or something, you cannot use it straight from Canva. You'll have to alter it. And generally the pictures, I think they like for you to, the photography you can alter to some extent. You can put, if you put words over it or things like that, now it's altered. You cannot trademark or register any design that you get off Canva, but you can use it because you're paying or they've given you that freely, as Lindsay said.
Yes. Also, Canva logos are not print quality either. So if you try to send that to someone who does embroidery or things like that, it comes out a lot very pixelated. So you may end up having to pay for an artwork fee anyway. But Canva is supposed to, it's meant, if you're needing something like really professional, I would hire a professional. If you are needing, but Canva is a really great way to kind of meet you in the middle there while you're growing your business, because not everybody can afford or is at the point where they want to drop, hundreds of dollars on a professional designer. We're just trying to show you some tips on either once you have your brand or things like that. You can use Canva as a wonderful tool to kind of meet you where you're at as you grow. Okay, uploads. So you can see everything that I've uploaded here on the left here. The previous workshop that we just did about a month ago had a lot of Kentucky businesses that were featured in there, and I would highly recommend going and watching the replay on that. So anything that you've added chronologically it'll load in from the top, so for easy access. And then tools here also offers you different. So I can use the draw feature and draw lines, highlight things. It also adds a second place you can find shapes, lines, sticky notes, different text. Okay, I'm going through pretty quickly and clicking on these things. And if you're wanting to delete something, see this purple line that's around here? I've just clicked on this, and now I'm just going to click the delete button. And folders and images. So the projects that you saw on my project folder in my home screen, those are also repeated over here. So for easy access. So I've got my designs, my folders, my images, any videos that I've added and things like that. So they make it abundantly easy for you to find and access the things that you're working on all in one. And then bulk create. This is also another pro feature. Over here in the apps, there's lots of different things to click on. Again, I highly recommend just clicking on things and seeing what they do. We do a Lights of Love Christmas tree lighting in the park at Christmas time, and they're memory trees. And I use the bulk create to do like the certificates for the names that hang on the trees. So you just load up a spreadsheet, connect the data to the certificate that you're wanting to create, and then you click bulk create, and it like filters, and there's probably 135 trees, I think, and it takes me like 5 minutes to do all of those certificates. It's a huge time saver. All right, so let's cover some design tips. All right, when you're making a graphic, I just want to know just a note about hierarchy. So when you are a person and you look you bring something up on your phone or you see something even in the newspaper, you're going to read certain things first because that's just how human beings read things. Left to right, top to bottom. You would think that you would read the thing at the very top where it says you will read this last, but it's not actually how things go. And so the most important information that you're trying to convey in whatever you're communicating, your event, your product, your space that needs to be rented, that kind of thing. Make sure that the most important eye-catching information is right there in the middle. And then people will read down and then they'll read at the very top. So just remember that when you are creating things. Also remember the who, what, where, when, why. I always recommend going back and even having somebody proofread. Sometimes even when somebody proofreads, they still miss it. I can't count how many times I've sent something to a printer and the printer sent it back to me and said, there's no time on this. There's no location on this. And I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I still forget to do the who, what, where, when, why sometimes. So always make sure that you are adding in those really basic, important points to get people to take action on what you're asking them to take action on. All right, give your design some space. So, when you go to a store and someone is either standing too close or the products are all too close together and it makes you feel a little bit claustrophobic. It's kind of similar for your graphic as well. When your text, this is the number one mistake that I see people making all the time, is that they cram too much information into a small space. They stack things way too close. You're not giving yourself enough white space. And so that's my highest recommendation on anything that you create, is to give your design some space. Don't pile in too much information. You can also assume, well, maybe you can't always assume, but you can try to assume that people are adults, they're intelligent, they can at least surmise what you're trying to tell them. And so don't try to pack in too much detail, and especially on a flyer or even an Instagram graphic, people are not going to read a whole paragraph of information. They're gonna look at it. It's whatever you can convey in 3 seconds is about how much attention you're going to get from someone. So you just pay attention to that, and don't try to pack in too much. I would say always use your brand fonts. This is one of my highest tips also, is if you're trying to identify your fonts, say a designer has made your logo for you before, or you completely forgot the name of your font. You can go to myfonts.com and there is a what the font identifier. It's an AI identifier, and you can take a screenshot of your logo or put in a copy of your logo, and it will designate the word. It'll pull out the word and it'll tell you, here are some options, and it'll actually give you about 100 options. And so sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're free. And then what I usually do is I go over to Google Fonts and I try to find something really similar. So if I can't get exact, or I don't exactly know if that's the name of the font that I'm looking for, I just try to get as close as possible. Google Fonts are always free. The nice thing also about Google Fonts is that you are so Canva also uses whatever's listed in Google Fonts. A lot of times you'll see those in Canva as well, or say a Word document, or especially Google, because it's a Google font, which makes sense, right? If you go into like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, it will offer you those fonts. And so they're more findable, I would say, if findable is even a word. I would also recommend, so with our Main Street program, we have certain fonts, but then we also have Ladies Night Out, which is a different color palette and a different logo entirely. However, our fonts are the same across all the brands. And so that is kind of our one unifier. So if you have an organization that runs different things, different events, I would highly recommend just keeping use of your fonts. So people establish that level of familiarity, even with the shapes of our letters. It's so interesting how human beings, like, you identify patterns really easily. So always use your brand fonts. All right. I love this slide because It's so different. We've been using blue this whole time. I don't know if you've noticed. We've been using this blue palette and these fonts, and then all of a sudden we end up with this girl. She does not look like she's from the Midwest. So keep your audience in mind when you're creating a brand. Just try to keep your brand consistent. So when we arrive on this slide that's green and it's got these bold letters and this girl that, it feels a little disjointed, right? So when someone is scrolling, they learn to recognize you based on the feel and the vibe and the style that you have. And so if you're wildly just going in and just choosing Canva templates, it ends up looking like you're choosing Canva templates. So I'm going to tell you in a couple slides, we're going to customize some things, and I'm going to show you exactly how to utilize the brand features that are in Canva to help you be more consistent. And the shapes of your letters and the graphics that you use, you can it'll make a huge difference in the way that people see you and whether they recognize you when they see you online, this is a really good example of that. All of these graphics, they all have the same girl, the same text, the same everything, except for the fonts and the colors. So you would get you have a different feeling, I assume, at least I do. You have a different feeling when you look at each one of these. So this one over here, on the left one, it's more clean. So you would expect, like if you walked into a store that had this graphic, you would expect a certain thing. Then in the middle, I would expect to see like maybe some tie-dye on the walls, or I think my eldest daughter would really enjoy going to a store that had orange and the letters looked like this. And then on the right there, the green, it's a little bit more of a grunge look, I suppose. And so I just wanted to use this to demonstrate to you, like, you can have the exact same graphic with the exact same letters, the exact same everything, but just the shapes of your letters and the colors that you're using are going to communicate a certain thing with your audience. So take that, bear that in mind when you're putting together your items and the things that you're trying to communicate. All right. So now we get to practice. All right. Okay. So shall we practice? So I'd like for you to, earlier I mentioned to bring up a tab or bring it up on your phone. Cat is trying to scratch the window. So we're going to start an artboard, and we're going to just change the background color. So just go into Canva, pick any size. It could be presentation, it could be a social media graphic, it could be anything. Just choose anything and change the background color. So click on the artboard, and then right up here, and now of course, I'm on a desktop. So if you're on the phone, your options, your features might be in different places. So I'm speaking to the desktop because that's what's in front of me. But just try to look for some things that kind of look similar. If they're not terribly similar on the phone, they're just in different places. So just do your best to follow along with us. So right here on this color wheel, I'm going to click on this. And if I wanted to change this to, let's say it's right here in my Beattyville color palette, is this kind of minty color. Then we're going to add a frame. So I'm going to close my color on the left-hand side here. I'm going to add a frame. So I'm going to go to Elements, and I'm going to clear out that search that I had done before. And I'm going to click on Frame right here. You can also access frames down here. There's all these, and there's lots of different ones. You can use flowers, blobs, retro, letters. There's all kinds of different ones. So here I'm going to use a circle, and I'm just going to grab this and move this over to the side so you can all see it. All right. So if I wanted to resize this, I'm just going to use any one of these little bounding boxes or these little tabs here on the corners. So, and I've got this, and whenever I move this, notice that there's a pink line that comes around. That's just your margin. You don't have to stay within that, but just understand that, especially when you print things, if you have things, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made as an early designer was I made everything so large and I made it all the way to the very edge of the paper. Well, most printers, they want, a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch around the edge just for to be in your safe zone. So whenever if you're making a flyer or something, just keep your letters just a touch away from the corners. So that way, when your printer registers that design, it will actually make room for all of those things. All right, so I have my frame. And then I want to go back and I want to just grab a photo. I mean, it could be any photo. I'm going to choose like a recently used one. I'm going to put this little guy in here. All I'm going to do is just drag. See what I've done? I've just dragged that and it just pops right in there. Well, if I want to resize or change what the circle focuses on, I'm just going to double click and see everything that's in the shaded area. I can move this image back and forth now. So if I wanted him to be, or her, wanted the child to be right here on the edge, then I just click out of it and it cuts it off for me. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add some text. So I'm going to go over here under my text feature here, and I'm just going to use this title or maybe a heading because I like how bold it is. And this could be kids sunglasses. All right, there's lots of features also. So I'm going to want to change the font, which is the next number 5 on my instructions here. So I'm going to click on this, and I know that I've clicked on it because I have the purple around it. I'm going to go up here and to this drop down, this typography drop down, just like a Word document. If you've been in a Word document or a Google Doc, this is exactly the same, this little bar up here. And let's say I decided I want to go do like nectarine, make it a little bit more fun, maybe if it's for kids. And I can resize it here, just like I did with the frame, or I can go up here and choose a font size. So if I wanted it to be 96, which is too large for what I have, the space I have, I can just do that. Now, also, if I want things to line up, Canva does a really great job of just see this pink dotted line that comes up? Whenever I move it, it shows me exactly where center is. It also does this if I wanted to put this in the center of the document, it will show me where the center of the document is. So follow those pink lines just to kind of get things lined up. And we'll talk about aligning things in the alignment panel in just a second here. Then I want to change the color of the font. All right, I want to make this maybe a little bit more bright. I can also go right up here to text color, just like a Word document. And I can make it something like really bright, like orange. All right. And then I want to add an outline on the frame. So I suppose if I really wanted this to pop off of this blue color behind, I would probably use this orange color. So I've clicked on, you can see what I've clicked on. I clicked on this frame here, and I've gone right up here to this border style. So, and I click on that, it will automatically give me a 4-point border. And if I want to increase that, I can either grab this here or I can nudge this up with my arrows on my keyboard. So 23, and then I'm going to change. So this is where you go for border color right up here. Click on border color, and I'm going to use that same orange to pull this together. Make that a little larger, realign it. Okay. So now I have that. If I wanted to add maybe something underneath it, like maybe a descriptor or like a little paragraph of text here, then I can do that as well. Okay. All right. I'm going to show, we're going to customize a template. So I have a template on the next slide, and I will show you some of the things that so these are the instructions. So we're going to go to the design tab up here, and we're going to search for, let's say a seasonal. So either summertime or let's search for like 4th of July, which I don't know that it will really give me much. 4th of July. Okay, it'll give me some, but the only reason why that doesn't show up for me is because I'm in a presentation style document. So that's the only reason why it's not really coming up for me. So if you're in like an Instagram, if you're in a square format already, it might offer that for you. What I could do is I could do this grill one. So I could probably easily turn that into a 4th of July. So if I click on that, it's going to ask me, do I want to add it as a new page or do I want to replace the current page? So if you're working on a page and then you're like, I really don't like this design, I want to just replace it, you could do that. Or if you wanted to do a comparison between something you're working on, you can just add a new page. And so see how down here, it just slid that right in. Okay. Then we're going to, so choose a template that you like, explore the elements, change the colors, change the fonts, add a new photo. Okay. So let's go to this grill one. And let's try to turn this into say something for 4th of July. Maybe we're having a barbecue or a cookout or something along those lines. It doesn't, now that I'm looking at it, it's really not a grill, but we're just going to go with it. Okay, so we're going to just click on each of these elements, move them around. See this, I see now that this box moves. And if I want to just replace it or put it back, I'll just hit the undo button. The undo button is fantastic. You can, this is where you would add your logo. Click on all of these things. Just see what Canva is offering you and say, what can I change? What can I not? All right. Also, I'm seeing that this box here, I'm trying to click the box that's underneath, but I'm not able to get to it. I'll show you exactly where to get to that. So I've clicked on this outside bounding box. I'm going to go up to this position panel. And then I'm going to see where it says arrange. And then on the right here, it says layers. I'm going to click on layers. So it's showing me that this box, this outline box is above the solid box. So you're probably not going to be able to, and it might frustrate you. This has happened to many of my clients where they give me a call and they're like, I can't grab this one box and it's driving me crazy. So grab this and just pull it underneath. So it still shows up. It's just now you're actually able to grab this and change the color. Maybe I want that to be yellow instead. Okay. Let's see, full yellow. Okay. Or if you're doing, if you're doing something that's red, white, and blue, you can maybe grab these things and just turn them white. Contrast is going to be huge. That's a huge design element as well. You want contrast so people can actually read, and that's also makes your designs more accessible too for the visually impaired. Having a lot of contrast, having really things that are bold for them to be able to see. Because remember, just because you're on your desktop, your graphic might be this large, but when people are looking at it, they're looking at it on their phone. And so just try to, when you're making things really, really tiny, there's a good chance that a good part of your audience is not going to be able to see what you're offering them. Okay, so that's my recommendation as far as taking a template and turning it into something that's your own. It's pretty easy to change the fonts, change the colors. You could even change the graphic behind here if I wanted. There was a really great umbrella. If I wanted to just change that to something really bright and vibrant, I probably wouldn't use this graphic or this image behind here just because it's so bright and distracting. Maybe something like that would be a little bit better, depending on what my message is. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful to you. All right, so we've got 10 more minutes before Janet takes over. And so we're going to review some of these features here. So I'm going to show you the duplicate feature. And especially this really works when you're trying to build out, let's say, a form or a sign-up form or something that has a lot of text boxes and you want them to be all aligned. And so I'm just going to use this heading font. So I've selected this and I'm going to duplicate. So duplicate comes up right here, right above it. It's just a little plus sign there. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to go ahead and line this one up. And then when I click duplicate again, it's going to give me the spacing that I'm looking for. It automatically does that for me. It's like magic. And again, if you wanted to select all of these again, you can grab all of these just by drawing a box around them and deleting. Or if you only wanted, let's say you only wanted to delete every other one, just hold down your shift button and grab what you need to grab. Okay. So duplicating, you can also do this for images and graphics as well. So let's, for some reason, we're using an umbrella theme now. So let's just do that. And if I wanted to do this again or duplicate that, I mean, it's so easy. So, and also one of the things, if I wanted to duplicate this and then line these up, and I wanted to put in a different image, I just have to, it automatically gives me a frame that's the size that I'm looking for. So I can just drag any picture that I want in here. All right, text spacing and effects. Let's review that. I'm just going to add, just like I did before, some of these headings. Duplicate. All right. I want all of these to be evenly spaced, and I want them to all be left justified here. So I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to go back up to this position panel that we were in before. So I clicked on layers before to show you to demonstrate that if you can't get at something that's in a layered, go into that layers panel, go to the arrange button right up here, and I'm going to just click left. So that pulls all of my boxes to the left, and then I'm going to click vertically and it spaces automatically. But what if I don't want these to be larger, because I could do that. I could just make these larger. But what if I don't want them to be larger, but I want them to span the whole page? I just drag this guy and this guy all the way down, just like this. And then I just hit vertically again and it spaces automatically. Okay, so there's lots of different ways for you to arrange things, for you to justify them, to, just this I work a lot in this either arrange or layers panel, spend a lot of time in here because the design is all about cohesiveness and even spacing. And so if things are evenly spaced, I think it makes people feel more comfortable and it makes things more readable and that kind of thing. So I spend a lot of time in there. All right, so we covered a little bit of the position panel. You can also, and the layering panel, I guess we've already covered that. So I'm just going to, I want to talk a little bit about the effects panel as well. So I'm going to click on this guy right here and go up to the effects panel. This offers you a lot of text effects. So if you're looking for, if you're looking at your design and saying it's kind of flat, you can add the heading. There's lots of different options here. So the coloring, you can add, let's say, yellow behind it. We can use that orange we were using with the umbrellas before. There's different options. I highly recommend just clicking on things. If you are on, I'm going to add this in here. If you're on a dark color, oh, okay. We've lost it. We're going to go right back in here. Okay. So this, if you want to, I'm going to make this white. And then I'm going to use the effects to lift it. So a lot of times white on a dark background will look a little flat, or it kind of looks like the dark colors kind of absorbing that text that you have on there. You can use the lift feature to kind of just give it just a touch of a shadow behind there, and it kind of makes it look like it's a little bit raised. There's lots of different options here. As you can see in this effects panel, there's neon, glitch, there's just lots. Also, the little boy that had the curled text around, the way that I did that was I just used this curve feature. And on the curve feature, you're able to change how large or how tight that feature is there. Then in your spacing, I might be going a little bit fast. I'm sorry, guys. Then in your spacing up here, you have the option to do letter spacing. So if you really wanted to space that out and give it a different feel, there's that as well. And then we'll talk about transparency and background remover. Transparency is right up here in this panel. And if you want that to just be, sometimes you want maybe your logo to be there almost as a watermark. You don't want it to be front and center, but you do want it to be available there, or just for brand recognition. You can use your transparency panel to change those things around. Okay, last thing, not second to last thing, background remover. I'm going to grab, let's take this little girl. This is also a pro feature. And I'm just going to click on background remover right at the top here. And it's going to pull her right out. And then I'm able to adjust the size of this. So this is a great feature for if you're trying to maybe make an email signature with your photo, but you don't want like everything that's behind it as well. You can pull out just your picture, or I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can use the background remover to make things really interesting. Okay, very last thing we're going to do here until Janet takes over is sharing is caring. So we talked earlier about being able to share your designs. If you go right up here in this share option, you can, so any design, even if I'm on a team, because I think I've got 5 people on my team, and I'm actually on 3 other teams as well of people who have Canva, and they've asked me to come in so that way we can use the same brand guides. And if you're making a design, that does not mean that the whole team can see it, but you have to go in and designate that they can see it. So this is where you would do that. So you would go, only people added can access. Anybody on my team, I can have them be able to edit it, comment on it, view it, that kind of thing, or anyone with a link. So if I wanted to send you guys a link to something, I can, anybody on the web that has the link can edit. So, and then I would copy that link, I would send that to whoever it pertained to, and then that's how that would work. This is where you're going to download. So if you make an Instagram graphic, you're going to download that to your downloads folder and then upload that to Facebook or your social media platform of choice. There's also lots of different other options here: JPEG, PNG, PDF, video if you're doing video, PowerPoint, that kind of thing. So that's where you're going to get all that. If I only wanted to download one page of all of that, then I would just unselect all, and maybe I only want the picture with I only want Janet's picture today. So I'm going to download that. All right, I'm going to go back out here. Then there's lots of other different options. So if you want to move this to a folder, if you want to create a template link, I have several templates that are on my website that all they have to do is just click that template link and it automatically adds it to their Canva. And I don't have to share my document with them. It creates a brand new document inside of their Canva. Printing with Canva is also an option. I highly recommend you use your local printers, but if you don't have a local printer, printing with Canva is a good option. They do quality materials and things like that. All right. So speaking of sharing, Janet has a few things to share. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so she can kind of jump over with hers and talk to you about some Canva AI features, some really cool stuff that they have.
Lindsay, thank you. That was a ton of great information. So whether you're a beginner or a power user, you should have gotten some great nuggets out of that. And you can always rewatch this. If you registered, you're going to get the link. So you'll be able to go and you could do some of those demos and walk through with it if you'd like to. So still post questions in the Q&A. And then I'm going to go ahead now and share my screen. So let me get that going. Oh, wait, let's do that. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. And I am in the create, describe what you want to bring to life. So and I'm also on this AI piece right here, Canva AI. So Canva has been working very hard to build out their AI features. Some of them are fabulous and some of them still need some work, and that's okay. So I'm going to actually do one of their examples. So the one I'm going to do is code for me. So I'm going to have it code. I'm not a coder. I don't know how many of you are coders, but I would guess that most of us don't have time to learn code and keep up with that kind of activity. But coding can really bring you some powerful website functionality, some cool things to share with your clients. And so I'm going to show you an example. I want to tell you when I learned about this, my first example was I created a quiz for my son to practice some biology questions. It made it into a website so I could just send him the link and he could practice biology. So that was my first use, but I'm going to use something more applicable to your businesses. So we're going to do, where is it? Here we go. This is an example. So this is the type of, if we look over here, and I'm going to let it work for a while. If we look over here, it put in the prompt for me. So prompt engineering, prompt writing for AI is another skill that's good to learn. But if you're not sure how to do that, then use the examples they provide. So this one says to create a modern build your own order interactive menu without images, starting with an example for this restaurant called Bella Cucina. And it says it has appetizers, pastas, and desserts. Use clean typography and color coding. Do not include place order or other non-functional buttons. So then as a follow-up, it's going to ask me about the restaurant name and concept that I want to create. So as we sit here and chat through this, it's coding for us. It's already up to almost 200 lines of code. So this is where you go and get a drink or you heat up that snack in the microwave. But this is all being coded based on this prompt. There's nothing else behind the scenes or tricky that I've done or that they have done. This is the prompt. So when you first start out, you might create a prompt for what you want and you'll see what it does and you're like, that's not what I meant. That's okay. Then you reprompt with some updates. And then you keep going from there. Once this creates your application, you can copy this code into a website provider that you may already have, or you can actually publish it from Canva. So you can actually say use it in a design and you can create a web page from that and send that to whoever you want. Really excellent for those of us that do not code. I mean, look at all this. We're up to almost 525, 30 lines of code that would have taken me weeks to do in the past. And it's taken us maybe 2 minutes. I don't know. All right, there we go. We now have a functioning page that we can order food. So I think I'm going to have some bruschetta. And then I'm going to go over to the pasta tab, get some spaghetti. I can add a protein. That was part of the coding. I'm going to get some shrimp, I think. I don't want meatballs. Thank you, though. I'm going to add that to my order. They have a place for special instructions. Let's have some dessert. Oh, yes, gelato, please. That would be lovely. No whipped cream, no thanks. Chocolate sauce, though, for sure. All right, so we add that to the order, and it has added this all together for me up here. Tells me how much my total is. This would have taken me weeks, and in the past I would have had to pay someone a good deal of money to code this for me. This is a very complex situation, but you could do a calculator for cost. You could do some kind of lead magnet where you put it out there and they leave their email address, and then it does a quiz or it does some function for you. We can ask it to use purple and blue branding and call it Janet's Kitchen. All right, so it can go in now and say, oh, thank you for that update. And now it's going to go through and recode. Now, the only thing that's a little frustrating is I'm surprised it cannot go in and make those changes. And we don't have to start over, but we do have to start over. So it's going to code through this again. While it does that, I'm going to show you something else. So this can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. Maybe you just want to mock something up to show a web designer and say, this is kind of what I was thinking. You could do a form. It's remarkably accurate and easy to use. So while that's happening, I'm going to go over to this tab. And this is a whiteboard that I've created. So you can do interactive whiteboards. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat. So I would like you, if you have a tab or you have your phone or something, I would like you to go ahead and go in. Oh, here they come. And I would like to know, how will you use Canva now that you've learned all these new tricks? So go over to Tools. Go to Tools, add a sticky with how you'll use Canva. And then there's also then, when you click on other people's stickies, you can add emojis. So you could actually agree, say love, whatever. So just go over to Tools and add some sticky notes here. And put some sticky notes in our live Canva board. So again, Tools, and here's the sticky notes. Add a sticky note and tell us how you'll use Canva. And play away. I'm going to flip back over for a second to our coder here that's up to 400, almost 500 lines, so that we can see how that is going. And you can see the changes after just a couple comments. Use purple and blue branding. You can also put your hex codes from your brand kits. You can put your hex codes and your fonts in there. You can just put the numbers in and it'll understand it. All right, then it tells you what it changed on your design. So here we go. So it changed the name to Janet's Kitchen. We've now got purple and blue instead of the colors from before. And we still have the same items, but it has now made everything purple and blue. And if I put in my brand numbers and colors, then it would have been more exact. So that is pretty impressive and fun. But again, you can do some simple things that you can share out as lead magnets or just get people to interact with your website. Google loves interaction. So here we are. So we've got marketing, advertising. This is great. Grab one of those posties and put them in if you want to. Give me a few more here because I want to show you something with this once you guys get a few more things in here. So we have advertising, marketing, presentations, and marketing. This is great. Very good, very good. Got a couple more things. Add a couple more things in here, and it'll help with my next step here if you can. So this can be used for brainstorming with your team, especially if you're not all together. This can be used for looking at your next quarter goals. This can be just having people ideate inside the tool. You can see this gets bigger or smaller. So we can do all of this. Awesome. You also have templates with these boards. So when you go to open one, there's templates. So there's a project management template, there's a brainstorming template. This is great for team meetings and things if you kind of want everyone to stay awake and participate. All right. I'm going to move back up here. So this is something that's really cool about this. You can highlight all this, and here is AI again. So you can do this and say, create a summary. This is whatever, rewrite, fix spelling, all of these things. I'm going to say, create a summary. So now the AI is taking all of your input and creating a summary for us. So here is the summary of your things that you just added. So again, if you're doing brainstorming with a team, you can get summaries. Super fun and cool. And then you don't have to digest all this in the different formats it was given in. You'll get your summary that you can then send out to everyone. I'm going to go ahead and show you another cool thing it can do. So you can sort. Oh, look, you can generate a quiz from this. I lost my sort. Oh, I think it's here. Sort. So sort is under the 3 buttons. So you can do sort by topic. So now it's taking your board that you guys have been working on and it's sorted. So we have brand development over here, we have tools and resources over here, and we have client relations over here. So it's a little messy, but it's can sort by colors. So if you had people do certain Post-it notes, or so it can sort in all different ways. I'm going to undo our sort. So there's all kinds of things you can do with the AI after you've used your collaborative whiteboard. And again, there's templates for the collaborative whiteboard, which is super cool. All right, I'm going to go back over to our menu and come out of there. So there's code. They give you some examples here, and there's examples down here. Now, since I just coded, here's an interactive pricing calculator. Here's a historical timeline, flashcard game, countdown timer. And this could just be code you add to your website. It doesn't have to be an entire website. It could just be some code that you have been dying to add to your website, but you didn't know how. And so you can add that in there. The other new thing that they have added that is excellent, I'm not going to really, I don't think, demo this at the moment, but you can do sheets now. So if you have been looking for a way to make a table and you don't want to learn Excel and you don't want to learn Google, you can get these templates that you can use. So here's an event marketing plan. And they already have a template for you that you can use with the event marketing plan. So sponsorships, online presence. Here's teams that you can change out and assign teams, points of contact, deadlines, status. So there's the event, the task tracker version, and the budget tracker version. So again, these are things that would have taken forever to try and develop on our own. But now they have templates in sheets. These just came out like a month ago. So pretty fun. Here's notes, tasks, status, has a whole time frame. So this is a project management for an event. You can change the colors. So again, another new feature that they've added. And then here is some actions that, again, are your magic actions or your AI actions that they have available. All right. Well, those are some new tools that we have for Canva. That's super exciting. Any questions on either the sheets, the whiteboard? Appreciate the thank yous. That's very nice. Or the original presentation. Feel free to throw some questions in. We wanted to leave time. Is there something you've always wanted to do in Canva you have always wanted to learn? Is there questions about templates or tools? We would love to answer them. You can put it in the Q&A. Lindsay, what else? Do you have other things you would like to talk about while we're waiting for questions?
Yeah, one thing I skipped over was adding a QR code in Canva.
You want to go ahead and show that while we're seeing if there's questions? Because that's a great feature. I'm going to talk about this QR code. The number one thing you can do to get your reviews up, one of the things you can do to get your reviews up for Google Business Profile is to have a QR code by the door, by the register, on the tables if you are a restaurant business, on your receipts. And there's two ways you can create those. You actually can create them now in Google Business Profile. They have figured out a way for you to do that. But she's going to show you a way to add QR codes that you can use for this, or you can use for any type of information you want to give. It goes to your website. The QR code can go to some instructions. Maybe it's to your privacy statement, whatever you want.
Okay, so that's not what I'm just going to grab this link here that I left here for myself. All right, so up in Elements here, click on Elements and then just do a search for QR code, either generator or QR code. And it automatically gives me this here. This is, I believe this is also a pro feature, but this is something that I use all the time because people going over to Bitly and creating a shortened link, or it's being able to do it all right here in the same dashboard is also very time saving. So I'm going to plug this in here and it just pops up. So this is the link to, I have a brand sheet that I offer all of my clients, and it's a template that brings it up in Canva, and it allows you to put all of your hex codes and I give it to every single person that I work with. And it's so helpful because it's just a one-sheeter that tells you what your fonts are named and what your colors are, and keeps your logos all in one place. It also helps if you're working with a designer to be able to send that to them and say, this is what I'm working with. And so that's a time saver. So you are welcome. It's completely free. You're welcome to use this QR code to bring up that brand sheet and download it for yourself. So.
Thanks, Lindsay. The other thing I would do though is as you create these, if you create them on different slides or in designs, make sure you name it so that you can go back and grab the same QR code, or you're going to forget and have to keep getting your phone out to figure out which QR code is which. But you can QR code to a presentation. You can QR code like she has to her brand sheet. You can create these for presentations for around your brick and mortar. Maybe you have some information about, you have a brand that you sell, candles, say, and you want to provide information about that candle company. You could put a QR code by those candles, and that would go to their website or go to some information you have posted. So that's a great feature. We do have a question, Lindsay. Is there a good way to create an assessment form, maybe similar to Google? The quiz wasn't working for them in Canva. I'm going to let Lindsay give her answer, but I would use Google then probably to do a survey. If you're looking for a free tool, I would go ahead and stick with Google and use that. It works very well. But some of the CRMs and different products do have survey tools. Lindsay, what do you like?
I agree with that. I go with the, I suppose the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to these kinds of things. You go with the thing that is built really well. These are kinds of features that Canva is just now coming out with, but Google has been doing for decades. So go with the thing that has been kind of tested and proven. Canva has, I mean, it's really exciting. I think Janet and I think she would agree that we're both kind of early adopters. So we really like clicking on things and just looking at the cool stuff that things can do. But really, at the end of the day, you want to do the thing that's the most reliable and the thing that you can get the fastest results on. So that would be my recommendation.
And you could use the AI code in Canva and code your quiz. You would put all your questions, list all your questions, and say, you know, ask this survey and see what it comes up with. You would have to have then either yourself or a web designer connect it so that those variables are kept and sent to you, emailed to you, those results. So there would be a little connection piece that you would need to do on the other side, but that is an option perhaps if you want to try that. Other questions? We still have about 8 minutes and we would love to show you more or answer any questions you might have. I hope you have found the content valuable today. Oh, Lindsay, do you want to show them how you can add a different size now to this presentation? I noticed you did do that, but I don't know that they noticed that those size changes.
Okay, so I'll go back to this slide, and then the very next slide is a square. You'll notice so this is a rectangle here, presentation mode, and then this is I think it's 400 pixels by 4 or 1,000 by 1,000, I think it is. And that's how I was able to get this square image to show you, to demonstrate to you how to change things. So at the very end of here, down here, I can add a page. If I click add a page, it's just going to give me a rectangular box that is formatted for a presentation. If I do this little drop down, add a page type, then I'm able to add in social media or something along those lines, custom size, things like that. So the nice thing about this is that if you're creating one kind of, say you have movies in the park and you're creating assets for movies in the park, you're able to create one document that has all the different sizes. So you know that you're going to have an Instagram post, a Facebook post, you're going to have a Facebook event cover, which is a different size. You're probably going to have a flyer, a thumbnail for your website, and you're going to have other kinds of promotional assets like that are formatted specifically, like our radio station has a specific format. And then there's another organization that promotes our events that they want to, they need that in a vertical so they can put it on their digital screen. So that's a different format. So that's where you're able to kind of create just one file in Canva and then create different sizes. It's super useful just for time saving. So that way you don't have one event, but you have 10 different documents and you have to figure out which one to click on when you go back in there to download something. So that's at least that's the practical use. Janet, do you have another use or another way that you would want to use that?
No, I think that's so either if you're doing a proposal package for a client and you want to give different types of assets and then also a document outlining the proposal, that's great. You can also, like you said, I think it's great to design all your assets for a campaign or an event. That's perfect. But this is the #1 feature that Canva was asked to do this past year. And so that is the one that they were sure to get done. I was also going to show you just one more quick thing because we like to pack in everything. Make sure you see it all. I'm going to go ahead and share. So that's the way you can do different things in the same document. But this is a way, so resize is up here. It is also a pro feature, so apologies. But if you want to resize your your design to different sizes, you can do that. So let's say I want to do a, I don't know what, Instagram. And then I only want to do, you could do the whole, all your pages, or you can just do the current page. You can copy and resize and set, well, it didn't do what I told it. Oh, there it did. There we go. So you can open that now and you'll see that that design has now changed its ratio, same stuff, different ratio. And then you can kind of make it look a little better if you don't like, you could put some text here and you could stretch this out, but that's a way to quickly redo your assets for different sizes so that you're not starting over if you need to do different sizes for social or something like that. I use that a lot for social media. All right. Well, I think that's about it. We really appreciate your time and attendance. This has been fun. We've gotten so much information here. Again, don't be afraid to go rewatch this and work alongside it and try some of the things we've done today. And thank you so much. We have one more. I don't know if Gustavo's going to tell us about that. We have one more webinar, Kentucky webinar coming up. And that is, we hope you all attend. And I don't remember the name of that one.
That one is Social Media Made Simple. It's planning content and going live. And it's on June 17th.
There we go. So we're going to look at social media plus tips and tricks for going live on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram if you want to do some live stuff, or TikTok. So just some tips and tricks on that.